Welcome to the Ad Expert Podcast. If you're managing marketing for a growing business right now, you've probably realized that ranking just a single local storefront is already just a brutal climb.
Oh, absolutely. It's a fight.
Yeah, you have to fight for visibility, you're optimizing map listings, scrapping for every single customer review. But what happens when that business actually succeeds? You open a second location.
Right. And then a fifth.
Exactly, maybe a 20th. And suddenly, those same strategies that put your first storefront on the map, they just completely buckle under the weight of scaling.
Did you? Because it requires a fundamental shift in how you even view your digital real estate.
Right. So today, our mission in this deep dive is decoding the absolute complexities of local SEO for multi-location businesses.
Yeah, managing one location it's like tending a single garden, right? You know every plant, you can water them individually.
Right.
But managing 20 locations, that's like running a massive industrial farm where you have to engineer the irrigation system itself.
Wow.
The rules of the ecosystem change entirely. And what you do on day one really determines whether you harvest anything at all.
Well, to help us navigate that massive irrigation system today, this deep dive is powered by a comprehensive advanced guide written by Sam Ashrafi, alongside some really fascinating agency insights from Ad Expert.
Yeah, there's some great data in there.
For some context on where this intelligence is actually coming from, Ad Expert is a Los Angeles-based online marketing and web development agency. They've got over a decade of experience in this specific arena.
Which is crucial, honestly.
Definitely. It was founded by Sam Ashrafi alongside SEO expert Ihsan Nabavati. And their approach relies really heavily on AI and real-time live tracking to just drive data-driven success.
And they're doing this in a massively competitive market.
Exactly. They serve this really dense, overlapping geographical footprint in the broader LA area. So they're headquartered in Woodland Hills, but they cover areas like Calabasas, Winnetka, Tarzana, Encino.
All those tight neighborhoods, yeah.
Right. Sherman Oaks, West Hills, Reseda, Burbank, and Van Nuys.
What's fascinating here is that dense overlapping geography is the ultimate pressure test for search engine algorithms. I mean, the biggest hurdle businesses face when scaling into neighboring cities is that search engines often view multiple location pages as potential duplicate content.
Oh, I see, because the services are the same.
Exactly. And without the right structural strategy built into the core code of the website, these businesses just end up competing against themselves.
Which is the last thing you want.
Right. They dilute their own authority,
Yeah.
and ultimately they just confuse Google's crawlers.
Okay, let's unpack this, because before we even start worrying about map listings or customer reviews or content, we really have to fix the actual plumbing of the website.
The foundation.
Because if the foundation is cracked, no amount of brilliant marketing is going to hold water.
None at all.
So the primary architectural debate here is always between using subfolders, which look like, your website.com/location-name versus subdomains, which look like location.yourwebsite.com.
It's a classic debate.
Right. So tell me if this makes sense. Is using a subdomain essentially like opening completely separate isolated bank accounts that don't share any credit history at all, whereas a subfolder acts more like different branches of the exact same bank, pooling all of their resources and trust together?
That is the perfect way to visualize it.
Yes.
When you set up a subdomain, search engines treat it almost entirely as a separate entity.
Just a total blank slate.
Exactly. It's a brand new bank account with zero credit history and zero trust. So say you launch a massive PR campaign,
Okay.
right, and you get this high authority backlink from a major local newspaper pointing to your Santa Monica subdomain. Well, that link equity stays trapped right there on that subdomain.
Wait, really? It doesn't help the main site?
It does virtually nothing for your root domain.
Yeah.
And it provides zero benefit to your Burbank or Encino locations. You're just actively fragmenting your own digital authority.
Man, I imagine that leads directly to the nightmare of keyword cannibalization then.
Oh, it's a huge issue.
Because if the structure is fragmented like that, you might have two different pages on your own site, say your main homepage, and then a specific subdomain just actively fighting each other for the search term, like lawyer near Los Angeles.
They absolutely will fight each other.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Google's algorithm hates ambiguity.
Right. It wants a clear answer.
Yeah. If the search engine doesn't know which of your pages is the definitive answer for a query, it will often just demote both of them.
Wow.
Yeah, it'll demote them in favor of a competitor who just has a clearer site structure. But when you use subfolders, all those backlinks, all that authority, it flows back up to the root domain. It compounds.
So it's a team effort, basically.
Exactly. Every time one single location wins a link, the rising tide lifts all boats. The entire domain gets stronger. And, we aren't just guessing based on theory here.
There's data on this.
Massive data. Studies by platforms like SEMrush and Moz definitively show that subfolders beat subdomains for multi-location ranking velocity every time.
And there's also the sheer technical headache of managing subdomains, right? I mean, you have to buy separate SSL certificates for each one.
Which drives up operational costs significantly.
Right. And from a crawling perspective, Google gives your site a quote-unquote crawl budget, right? Like a limited amount of time and server resources its bots will actually spend indexing your pages on any given day.
Yeah, they don't have infinite resources.
So if you have 20 subdomains, you are basically forcing Googlebot to split that budget 20 different ways, which means just way slower indexing for your updates.
Exactly. Whereas subfolders share a single unified crawl budget. But, the real-world ranking results are what matter most.
Right, the actual bottom line.
The data shows that while subdomains can occasionally rank in the map pack, they consistently trail subfolder architectures by 1 to 2 positions.
Which is huge.
It is. In local search, being in position 3 versus position 5 isn't just a minor dip in traffic. It is the difference between a ringing phone and complete silence.
Because nobody scrolls down.
Right. Users rarely scroll past the top 3 map results.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting. Because once we have the internal website architecture successfully pooling our authority, like we just talked about, we need to look outward.
The external signal.
Yeah, the most critical external signal is how Google actually verifies the physical footprint of these locations in the real world. We're talking about NAP consistency.
Name, address, and phone number.
Exactly. And I look at it like a person having slightly different legal names on their driver's license, their passport, and their credit card.
Oh, that's great comparison.
Like maybe one says Robert, one says Bob, and one says Rob. If you're trying to get a mortgage, the bank's fraud department is going to flag you.
They'll freeze everything.
Right. It makes the authorities suspicious. And in local SEO, Google's algorithm is the authority. If you're ABC Plumbing Inc. on your website, but ABC Plumbing Inc., with a comma on Apple Maps, Google just starts second-guessing your legitimacy entirely.
They do, because Google's primary product is reliable information. If they send a user to a business that is moved, or they provide a disconnected phone number, that reflects really poorly on Google's utility.
People will stop using Google Maps.
Exactly. So to prevent that, they rely on consensus. Their algorithm scrapes data brokers all across the web. And if Yelp, the Better Business Bureau, and Apple Maps disagree on your exact NAP details,
Even slightly,
Google loses confidence in your data and demotes your local ranking. It's really the silent killer of multi-location SEO.
And the absolute epicenter of that consensus, right, is your Google business profile.
100%. It's the foundation for ranking in the map pack.
But a lot of businesses make a critical error here when they start expanding. I've seen this. They try to just add 15 different addresses under one master profile just to save time.
Oh, yeah. And doing that will get your entire digital presence erased.
Wait, erased?
Completely. Google explicitly bans mapping multiple distinct physical locations to a single monolithic profile. They will suspend the account without any warning.
That is terrifying.
It happens all the time. Every single physical storefront requires its own unique, verified Google business profile. No exceptions.
Wow. Okay, but getting those individual profiles verified is really only step one, right? Because the algorithm actively rewards effort, which is where the completeness score comes in.
Yes, you have to fill everything out.
Right. A profile needs a minimum 250-word description for each location, naturally incorporating the specific services offered in that exact neighborhood.
Not just a generic blurb.
Yeah. And you have to utilize up to 3 primary and 10 secondary categories if they actually apply to your services. But the most common mistake is where you actually send the user
the website link.
Yeah, you must link that specific Google business profile directly to the specific location's landing page on your website, that subfolder we just talked about, and not just your general homepage.
Right. Sending them to the homepage just creates friction. And, the visual component of those profiles is equally critical. The statistics on profile imagery are staggering.
People love photos.
They do. A fully optimized profile needs a minimum of 20 photos per location.
20?
At least. Interior shots, exterior shots, team photos in action, headshots of the local manager.
That's a lot of media to manage.
It is. But the data shows that a Google business profile with only 5 photos gets 30% fewer clicks than a profile with 25 or more. I mean, humans are visual creatures. They want to see the storefront before they drive there, and the algorithm tracks all of that engagement.
Okay, so if an agency is coming in to audit and fix, say, 20 different profiles, the instinct is probably just to log in and update everything on a Friday afternoon. Get it over with.
Oh, don't do that.
Yeah, updating 20 locations simultaneously is incredibly dangerous, isn't it?
It triggers massive algorithmic spam filters.
Whoa!
Yeah, Google Business Profile updates take 3 to 7 days to reflect in the search results anyway. If a bot suddenly detects massive data alterations across 20 profiles in a single hour,
It panics.
yeah, it assumes the account has been compromised or it's being manipulated by a script. So you have to batch your updates very gradually over a few weeks.
And while you're batching those profile updates, you also have to run that NFP audit we mentioned across the rest of the internet. You have to go to Yelp, Apple Maps, Angie, MapQuest.
It's a tedious work.
It really is.
Ah.
Checking every single listing for every single location, filing correction requests for any tiny comma or suite number discrepancies. It sounds exhausting, but that is the foundation for building local citations.
But you can't just blast your information out to 100 directories on day one either.
No, you can't. Citation building must follow a staggered, tiered approach. Just think about how a real physical business grows.
Oh,
If a new plumber opens a shop and suddenly has 100 directory listings across the web within 24 hours,
that looks fake.
the algorithm immediately recognizes that as an automated spam script. Real businesses grow organically over time.
So how do you mimic that? To mimic that natural growth, you hit Tier 1 in the first week. These are the critical platforms like Google, Yelp, and Apple Maps. Then, in weeks 2 through 4, you move to Tier 2.
Which are what, exactly?
Those are the high-value, industry-specific directories. So for a lawyer, that's Avo. For a contractor, it's HomeAdvisor.
Got it.
And finally, in month 2, you build Tier 3, the supporting directories like White Pages or local Chamber of Commerce sites. This gradual buildup proves to Google that your business is gaining traction genuinely.
Okay, so we have a rock-solid subfolder architecture, and we've verified our footprint across the web with perfect, staggered NIP consistency.
We're in good shape structurally.
We are, but having a verified map listing is completely useless if a user clicks through to a page that feels like it was generated by a robot. So I want to push back on the content strategy here a bit.
Okay, let's hear it.
If I'm managing 50 different locations across a massive area like Southern California, writing 500 unique words for every single neighborhood sounds incredibly tedious. Why can't I just build one highly optimized, brilliantly written master template and then just use a find and replace tool to swap out the city names?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, using find and replace is basically a guaranteed way to tank your entire domain's visibility right now.
Really? They'll catch it.
Oh, easily. Google has rolled out very specific, helpful content algorithmic updates designed explicitly to hunt down and demote auto-generated thin location pages.
Wow.
Their natural language processing is way too advanced. They know when you've simply swapped the word Los Angeles for Burbank while leaving the entire surrounding paragraph identical.
So to actually satisfy that helpful content requirement, every single page needs a unique H1 header and meta title. Like, instead of a generic Our Locations banner, it needs to be highly specific.
Like plumbing services in Santa Monica, CA247 emergency repair.
Exactly. Then you actually have to write a minimum of 500 words of genuinely local body content. You need to mention local landmarks.
Any places.
You need specific neighborhood case studies detailing, like, a recent pipe repair you did near Mulholland Drive, for example.
That's a perfect example.
And you should even introduce the specific local team members, complete with their backgrounds, working at that exact branch.
Right, because the search intent dictates the content. And intent varies wildly by geography. Doing keyword research for the broad Los Angeles market requires a totally different tactic than targeting a wealthy enclave like Santa Barbara.
Oh, I'm sure the volume is way different.
Exactly. In LA, a broad term like plumber near me might get 8,900 searches a month. It's a bloodbath of competition. But in Santa Barbara, you might target a much lower volume but massively higher intent search, like plumber Montecito.
Ah, so much more targeted.
Right. Your unique content needs to reflect those distinct neighborhood search behaviors while maintaining a natural keyword density of around 0.5 to 1%.
Right.
You really just mentioned the target location naturally once every 100 to 200 words.
And we also have to translate all of that rich, human-readable content into something the search engine bots can just digest instantly.
The back-end stuff.
Yeah, that means embedding location schema, specifically JSON-LD, into the page's code. For anyone not deep into web development, JSON-LD stands for JavaScript Object Notation for Linked Data.
Quite a mouthful.
It is. But in plain English, it's essentially a digital business card formatted in Google's native language. Instead of forcing the bot to actually read your paragraphs to figure out your address and operating hours, JSON-LD spoon feeds those exact coordinates directly to the crawler in a structured, undeniable format.
And you can use tools like Yoast to generate this automatically, which is great.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah, because it just removes all ambiguity. When Google's bot doesn't have to guess if a phone number in your footer is for the corporate sales team or the local brand.
It trusts it more.
It trusts the data completely, and trust is the absolute currency of local SEO.
So what does this all mean? It means we've successfully brought the user to a highly optimized, localized, fast-loading page that search engines trust.
Yes.
But the final hurdle is proving to the actual human being looking at their screen that this specific branch is reputable. We need to talk about the two biggest local authority signals, reviews and local links.
The conversion multipliers.
Yeah, let's start with reviews because they dictate 72% of all local purchase decisions. 72%.
It's massive. And from an SEO perspective, the metric that actually moves the needle isn't your total lifetime number of reviews.
Really?
No, it's your review velocity. A business might have 100 glowing 5-star reviews, but if the last one was posted 6 months ago, the algorithm views that business as stagnant.
Wow, so old reviews just lose their power.
Yeah. They'll almost always be outranked by a competitor who only has, say, 30 reviews, but acquires a steady stream of 2 or 3 new ones every single week.
That makes sense.
Consistency signals an active, thriving business. The baseline goal should be acquiring 4 or more new reviews per location every single month.
Getting a customer to actually take time out of their day to leave a review, though that's where the real friction lies.
That's the hardest part.
You definitely don't send them to a generic rate us page on your website. You send them a direct link to the Google review form. But the delivery mechanism is literally everything.
Timing and channel.
Yeah. Sending a review request via email usually yields like a 40% open rate.
Best case scenario.
Right. But if you send a text message reminder 3 days after the service is completed, the open rate rockets to a staggering 98%.
The intimacy of a text message just commands attention in a way email no longer can. And for in-person businesses, placing dynamic QR codes directly on the physical checkout receipts.
Oh, that's smart.
It allows customers to scan and review on their mobile phones before they even walk out the door. That drives massive same-day review volume.
But there's a strict compliance warning attached to this, right?
Oh, absolutely. You can never pay someone directly for a review, and you cannot offer a direct transactional discount. Like, you can't say 10% off your next visit for a 5-star review.
Right, because Google will catch that.
Google will aggressively penalize you for incentivizing fake sentiment. You must use compliant incentives, like entering every reviewer into a monthly raffle for a gift card, regardless of whether they leave 1 star or 5.
Okay, so that handles the human trust element. The other massive conversion multiplier, which remains a top 3 ranking factor for local search, is local link building.
It's still incredibly powerful.
Because a massive, centralized PR campaign that gets a link from Forbes to your brand's main homepage is great, but it doesn't pass enough hyperlocal geographical relevance to your individual branch subfolders.
No, it doesn't. You need hyperlocal backlinks pointing directly to the specific location pages.
Which is hard to fake.
You can't fake it. This requires actual grassroots community involvement. Sponsoring a neighborhood Little League team or a local park cleanup usually results in a backlink on the organization's sponsor page.
And that sends a strong signal.
It tells Google that your specific branch is physically tied to that community. Partnering with complementary local businesses, like a roofer linking to a local plumber, creates this web of local relevance.
So PR efforts should really focus on neighborhood publications or community platforms like Nextdoor.
Exactly, cementing your geographic footprint in the algorithm's eyes.
Yeah.
But this raises an important question. If you're a business owner or an agency director, how do you manually manage perfect NAP consistency weekly text message review acquisition, staggered directory citations, and grassroots local link building for 50 different markets simultaneously.
Honestly, you simply can't. The math on the man-hours just doesn't work.
Is impossible. Scaling from 5 locations to 50 typically takes 4 to 6 months, even with a dedicated team. And it absolutely requires enterprise-level automation tools.
What kind of tools are we talking about?
You have to use platforms like Yext, Moz Local, or Uberall. These platforms connect via API directly to the data brokers. So instead of manually logging into 50 different directories to fix a suite number, you update it once in the software, and it pushes the correction instantly across the entire web.
Oh, that saves hundreds of hours.
And for reviews, systems like Podium or Trustpilot integrate with your point-of-sale systems to just automate the SMS outreach. It entirely removes human error from the follow-up process.
Tracking the success of that automation, though, requires a really advanced setup in Google Search Console, doesn't it?
You really have to know what you're doing.
Because you cannot just look at your overall blended website traffic anymore. You have to utilize what is called path-level rejects.
Which scares a lot of people off.
It sounds intimidating.
Yeah.
But in plain English, regular expressions or rejects just allow you to create a custom filter.
Right.
You are telling Google Search Console, ignore the entire website and only show me data for URLs that contain the exact phrase Sherman Oaks.
Exactly. It isolates the performance data. Because if your Burbank location drops 3 positions in the map pack, but your Sherman Oaks location jumps up 5 spots,
The average looks fine.
looking at the blended average tells you nothing. You have to diagnose issues at the surgical branch level.
And meticulous, isolated tracking is pretty much non-negotiable right now because the technology of search itself is fundamentally shifting beneath our feet.
We are facing the massive impending threat of AI in search.
Yeah, the statistics on this are, frankly, terrifying for traditional search engine optimizers. Google's AI overviews are now claiming up to 40% of local search clicks.
40%.
Instead of a user scrolling down past the ads, looking in the map pack, and clicking through to actually read your carefully crafted location page, the AI is just intercepting the query entirely.
It's acting as a middleman.
Right. It reads your page, synthesizes the answer, and serves it directly to the user right at the very top of the results page.
It completely short-circuits the traditional user journey. But, the mitigation strategy for surviving this shift is actually rooted in everything we've discussed today.
Really? It all ties back.
It does. Your Google business profile and those individual location pages must be incredibly rich with structured data. That JSON-LD location schema we mentioned earlier.
The digital business card.
Exactly. That machine-readable data is exactly what large language models crave. If your data is perfectly structured, hyper-accurate, and validated by consistent NAPC citations across the web,
The AI trusts it.
the AI will confidently pull your information as the definitive answer rather than guessing with a competitor's messy data.
That makes total sense.
This is exactly why AdExpert's integration of AI-powered analytics is so essential right now. You have to utilize artificial intelligence on the back end to feed the artificial intelligence on the front end.
Wow. Let's quickly recap this journey because the blueprint we just laid out is incredibly dense.
It's a lot to take in.
To win at multi-location SEO, you must first build a solid subfolder architecture, so your authority pools and compounds like branches of a single bank. You have to establish bulletproof NAP consistency across directories, staggering your approach so it actually looks like organic human growth.
Right, no spamming.
You must write genuinely local 500-word content for every single city to avoid the helpful content penalty. You drive review velocity through high-converting SMS text messages. And finally, you automate the entire tedious process with API tools so you can actually survive the shift into the AI search era.
It is a massive structural engineering problem. But I will say, when all of those interconnected pieces lock into place, the compounding growth across dozens of markets is just extraordinary to witness.
It really is. And I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over, building on that massive shift in user behavior we just talked about. With AI overviews now claiming 40% of local search clicks, by instantly aggregating your reviews and your structured data, how long until the traditional website, as we know it, becomes nothing more than a back-end database meant purely to feed Google's AI?
That's a profound question.
Right. If you've built 20 beautifully designed digital houses, but the AI only ever wants to read the underlying blueprint, Is your Google business profile and your weekly review velocity about to become the only actual storefront your customers ever see?
It's entirely possible.
It is a brand new world of digital real estate, and the plumbing has frankly never been more important. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.